haven't done this in so long. I have to find so many books. Hello everyone, welcome back to Book and Prejudice. My name is Matt and I have been gone for 2 months. I am so sorry. Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? I'm doing fine. I am very sorry for being gone for so long. Honestly, I have been reading. I just didn't have time to sit down and record a video because work-life balance is not something I was doing very well. But I'm back on trying to be better about it, and I come with all of these books plus some audiobooks and ebooks to talk about. So I don't want to do too much of an intro, so I'm just gonna say this is my October and November wrap-up, and yeah, let's get going with the first book, which is, sorry, I'm gonna be reading a lot from my journal because I haven't looked at these books for like a while, so I want to make sure I get it right. And the first book is Oh Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. I don't think that's how you're supposed to pronounce her name. And that is this book. As I said, sorry, there's a lot of books. We're just gonna do our best. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. But yeah, Oh Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. I love this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. Even now I can remember. I read this like the 1st of October. For reference, it is the 1st of December. Hence the festive sweater. And I loved it so much. I thought it was perfect. It takes place in the Highlands in Scotland, and I thought that was really cool. And it follows the life and death of this girl called Janet, and Janet appears dead, but nobody cares that she's dead too much. Everyone's like, her parents are like, oh well, she's dead, but you know, what a burden she was, it's fine, whatever. Which is a bit of an awful thing to say about your kid, but that's what happens to her. And I loved it because for several reasons actually. First of all, I love this story. I thought the story was so interesting. It is not something that is very eye-catching. There's not something huge that happens. It's just, it goes narrating the 16 years of life of this kid until her death. But what I liked about it is that the atmosphere that it presents and that it surrounds the book is so good. Like, I'm not joking when I say you feel like you're in this house in the middle of nowhere, and I thought that that was so interesting because for me, I'm a very atmospheric reader. I like to set the mood in my house. I like to make sure that like the books that I read are very visual and you can really visualize this, and this book did that for sure. But also it was very interesting because this book, when it came out in the I think 100 years ago, when it came out, it was so popular for like 4 years, and then it suddenly got lost. This author hasn't written anything since. And then suddenly this year it had like this huge revival, and I'm so grateful for it because it is so interesting. Definitely like this book a lot. I gave it 5 stars. Definitely would recommend reading it if you have a second. Maybe I would do it when it's like wintry. I read it in October, which was so good because it was like super moody and like Halloweeny. And for me, it's very gothic as well. So it's not scary, but it is surely a little bit on the scarier side. Also, the plot twist at the end, like the person that kills Janet, I did not see it coming. I was like, that is so out of the blue. It makes sense, but that is so out of the blue. So yeah, I read Oh Caledonia by Elspeth Barker, and I loved it, and I got so excited to be living in Edinburgh out of this. So yeah, definitely one for the reads if you want something very gloomy and atmospheric. This is gonna be the whole vibe of the video, me chugging books down. Oh, I don't know if I said, I gave that book 5 stars. I would have given it more, but there's no more in Goodreads, so 5 stars it is for me. The next book that I read was the Page Turner's Book of the Month for October, which is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I also love this book. I think I gave it 4 stars or 3 stars. Let me check. How many stars did I give you? I gave it 3.5 stars, so I'm guessing 3. I thought this book was super weird in the best way possible. My friend Julia picked it for the book club, and I thought it was really cool. because I really like the concept of it. I also, however, have to admit, I did see the plot twist coming. For those who don't know, it follows this journalist who goes back to her hometown because they've been killing some little girls and she's going to try and figure it out. But the journalist herself has gone through a very traumatic past. So this is very traumatic for her to revive. However, she chooses to do it because she thinks it's the best for her career. I saw the plot twist from a mile ago. Like, it was very, very easy for me to know how it was gonna end. However, I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was super creepy and perfect for the book club book of the month for October. She's the author of Gone Girl as well, which is always really interesting for me. I didn't like Gone Girl as the film, and I never read the book. If I'm honest, I didn't think I would like it. So, but yeah. But it was a very good crime novel. It was very interesting. And as I said, it was very creepy, which is what I'm guessing my friend was going for. Yeah. The next book that I read was casually going through my book journal. Oh yeah. Was Julia Alvarez, En el tiempo de las mariposas. This was a gift from Greg, and actually I really want to get this to my mom. I annotated the crap out of this book. I loved it so much. It's a 5 stars for sure. Definitely one of my favorite books of the year. And I loved it so much because, for those who don't know, I really like learning about Latin American dictatorships and everything. And this one takes place in Dominican Republic, I think that's how you turn it. Yes, Dominican Republic, during Trujillo's dictatorship. Now, similar to this book, but much more graphic, I've also read, one second, Mario Vargas Llosa's La Fiesta del Chivo. They both deal with the same topic, this one in a much more romantic way because it follows the lives of 4 sisters, 3 of which are killed by Trujillo's regime, and it is firstly it is narrated through the 4 points of view, but it's also narrated, which was so heartbreaking for me, through the eyes of the surviving sister, which I thought was so sad. This one is just so gory and gross. We read this in 11th or 12th grade. This was a lot. Like, this was a lot. I'm just gonna leave it like that. But I really liked it because, first of all, I have 2 sisters. I do not like the thought of war happening in my country, but if there was, I couldn't help but picture which of my sisters would be which Mirabal sister. But at the same time, it is a beautiful story of family. It is so of love, of friendship, of fear. It's a really interesting account of Dominican Republic during this time and of Trujillo's dictatorship. And it's very interesting because Julia Alvarez actually is Dominican, but she moved to New York and she kind of inserted herself within the book, meaning that one of the sisters is interviewed by a woman from DR who was actually living in New York. So you can almost see how the author was part of the book itself, which I thought was a very interesting thing. You don't normally see it. It's like, you know, in Las Meninas when Velázquez painted himself in the painting. It's kind of like that, but with a book. That's the vibe that I got. But I really liked it. I thought it was so beautiful. I really like sisterhood. I think that's because I have 2 sisters. So I'm quite biased towards sister bonding, and I think that sisterhood is super important. So I was just like, yeah, I love this book so much. It was a gift from Greg as well. I loved it so much. It was a 5 stars out of me, and actually there's a couple really good quotes. Let me see if I can translate them. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can translate this properly. Good God, how people idealize the terror of others. I was just like, hell yeah, because a lot of times when you read accounts of people that lived during these very violent times, people that lived during dictatorships, people that lived during wars, people are like, they were so brave. They were like finding love amongst these horrors that they were living. And while yes, they were brave and yes, they were able to find love, it was not all so pretty and nice. Like, they were being tortured, their family members were disappearing, and a lot of times we tend to idealize, you know, everything that happened back then. And there's this whole movement online about idealizing your life, and whilst I think it's a great thought and a great idea, I don't personally think we should idealize everything about the world. There's some things that are going terribly wrong that should be seen as they are, not as they would be in a more romantic, literary, rococo kind of world. I just don't agree with that. But at the same time, it was still a really idealized version of this. This is the idealized version of this book. That's the only way I can describe it. However, you can still see the fear, the terror, the violence that took place during Trujillo's dictatorship here. You just can. There's no way you can avoid it. And I really appreciated that whilst weaving this love story of four sisters and the love they felt for each other, the author was able to really represent like the fear that went in these years. I honestly love this book so much. If you can read in Spanish, this is definitely one for the books. En el tiempo de las mariposas, by Julia Alvarez. One of my top 5 books of the year. For sure. It was very violent and dramatic, I'm sorry. Okie dokie. The next book that I read was Never Saw Me Coming. I read that in my Kindle. I will pop it one of these two sides. Not sure which. It is by Vera Kurian, and I read this for my Edinburgh book club. I am part of the Edinburgh Girly Book Club, and it was a book of the month for October. I liked it. It was okay. I gave it 4 stars because it was very funny. It follows the life of Chloe, a psychopath, and she goes to this university to kill someone that did something horrible to her. And through her time there, she notices that she's part of a program, and this is a program in which they try to teach psychopaths to be more socially adept. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know. They're trying to teach them how to have morals and stuff like that. And then she notices that people from her program are being murdered. So she and a few others of the program tried to figure out what's happening. Meanwhile, she's still trying to murder this dude. Like, there's like 2 main storylines. Her trying to murder the guy, and her trying to figure out who's trying to kill the psychopaths. Again, the plot twist, a little bit obvious. The moment they introduced the situation, I was like, yeah, got it, like that. But that didn't take from the fact that it was a really entertaining read. It was so fun to just kind of go into this world of like, woohoo, college parties. I like that. Like, it was really fun. It was a good book for book club as well. Would I recommend this book like at length? No. I would also not say not read it. It was interesting. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Maybe you will as well. But yeah, it was fine. It was a fun book. That's all I can say from it. Also, for the Edinburgh Girly Book Club, I read Clap When You Land. I did not read this. I listened to this book, the audiobook, by Elizabeth Acevedo. Okay, I have thoughts about this book. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to articulate them in a way that don't make me sound like a terrible person, so give me a second. Alright, I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the story was really good. I really liked the idea behind the book. I thought it was a really interesting idea. I did not like the way it was written. For context, Elizabeth Acevedo is a poet. She wrote the book resembling poetry more than a prose novel. However, she wrote it more so as spoken poetry than written poetry or prose. It read almost like when you go to those indie cafes where they like do like poetry expositions and everyone goes like this. That's how it read, which is fine if you're into it. I wasn't, and because I listened to it, it was a little intense for me. At times I was like, okay, maybe calm down a little bit because it's a bit too much for me. But overall it was fine. It was interesting. I like the plot of the story. It follows two sisters who share the same father, but they don't know about each other. One lives in New York, one lives in Puerto Rico, and it is a story of their father dies and they find out about each other, and they talk, and it shines a light on the differences between New York and Puerto Rico. It shines a light on sisterhood again. It's a very beautiful story. I just didn't think that the writing style added anything to it, if I'm honest. And also, like, in my book club, we were all like, there's a lot of logistical things going on here that we just don't understand. Like, how can you have two families and not make them know of each other? Also, how do you explain to one kid that you are there for 3 months of the year, and then explain to the other kid that you're gonna go to Puerto Rico for 3 months and you're not gonna speak to them, you're gonna be out of the picture? Like, they were, logistically speaking, this book was a little bit confusing, but it was interesting. I really liked it. I wouldn't, you know, it was okay. It was okay. That's the best way I have to describe it. Read it if you want. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about this style of writing. That's the one I'm interested about. Okie dokie, karaoke. The next book that I read was Lukenbooth by Jenny Fagan. Listen, when I tell you that this book was a roller coaster, it was a roller coaster. I'm not sure if I liked it or not. I give it 3 stars because it follows 9 points of view. 9 different people we follow in this book. Now, I like 3 very much. The rest, I did not care. But it is cool because this is a 20-minute walk from my house, and that was fun. So that's why I liked it a lot. Let me run through the story. So it's divided in 3 parts. The first part is from 1910 to 1930s. The second part is 1939 to 1969. And the third part is 1970 to 1990s. So those are the 3 parts. I liked a few parts of it. Let me rewind that. In 1910, the first story that we hear is that of Jessie, the devil's daughter, who is sent to this house to basically get pregnant, have a kid, and leave. There's something that happens. That's not what takes place in the end, and she places a curse in the whole house. And then it kind of shows the story of everyone else that lived in that house. So it was sort of like a big townhouse with houses. The beginning, it was all belonged to someone, and then he started separating it, and then there were like 5-6 floors. So 2 or 1 person lived per floor. It's very similar to my house, actually. A little bit creepy when I made that connection. Anyways, I really liked Jessie's point of view, but that was only like 4 chapters in the first part. Then I also really liked, I wrote exactly whose part I liked so I could speak about it. I really liked Agnes. I thought she was cool. Agnes is in the second part of the book, and I really liked Dot in the third part of the book. So I had like 1 main character that I liked in each book, but as I said, you only saw them for like 2-3 chapters at most. However, I will say one thing. The ending of the book. I don't want to spoil it, but holy shit. The ending of this book was amazing. It was so insightful into like it was so beautifully normal. I really liked it. I don't know, I really liked it. So I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. because there were 6 points of view that I didn't care enough to write, like to care for. Actually, of those 6, there were like 2 or 3 that was like, I just don't want to read you anymore. And there were some points of view that you just couldn't connect. So that was a bit frustrating for me as well. But it was very interesting to read about Edinburgh from 1910 to 1990, given the fact that now in 2020 I live here. So it was very, very interesting. Definitely read this. Again, super atmospheric, super gloomy, dark, deep. Really good to like shut off your curtains, dim your lights, make yourself a really hot cup of tea, and just spend your afternoon reading. It was really interesting. 10 out of 10. Except no, it's not a 10 out of 10. It's a 3 out of 5. Listen, it's very interesting. Read it if you want. I didn't love it. I'm making no sense. I haven't done this in so long that I don't even know what I'm doing. Anyways, the last book that I read is The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Mass. I love this book. First of all, let's start by pieces. Look at how beautiful this copy is, right? You look at it and you're like, holy moly, it's very pretty. The back is also super nice, but then you take off the dust cover and bam, it's even prettier. And then you open, it was so pretty. I don't know how to explain how pretty this book is. It's so pretty. It's one of my favorite books, and honestly, 20% of that is because of how pretty it is. Let me tell you what this book is about, yeah? Let's do that. So it follows 2 stories. It follows the life of Genevieve, and it follows the life of Eugenie. 2 women. Eugenie gets sent to the Salpêtrière, which is a insane asylum for women. That's the only correct way I can think of putting it. And this insane asylum is known for hosting all types of mad women, which for the most part it was hysteria, depression, and also having opinions. God forbid you have an opinion, you get sent to the Salpêtrière. So long, sucker. But in Eugenie's case, I personally think she should be in the insane asylum, but read the book and let me know. Anyways, it talks about the life of Genevieve and Eugenie during a few months in the Salpêtrière. Genevieve is a nurse there. She's been the head matron for 20 years, and she is so passionate about her job and so passionate about Dr. Charcot, who is the main doctor in the insane asylum. Eugenie is put there against her will by her father because men. And she's trying to figure out how to escape. And these two... My phone stopped recording. Anyways, these two form a very unlikely friendship and alliance, and you can see how they go from disagreeing and hating on each other to needing and, in a weird way, loving each other, I think. You also follow other really interesting people like Louise. I love Louise so much. I love her character development. I'm like, yes, Louise, good on you. You follow Therese, who is an old prostitute. Really cool. I didn't know this book was French. I would have liked to read it in French actually, but I do know there's a film on Amazon Prime that I really want to watch, which is French. So I might watch that instead. Might do that. But yeah, these are all of the books that I've read in the last 2 months, October and November. December is already looking a lot better in terms of making videos. So I have an idea for next week's video, so I'll definitely come back next week with a new video. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and comment on the video. And for more bookish content, you can always follow me on @BookandPrejudice in Instagram, where I have been completely inactive for the last month and a half, but I plan on making a triumphant comeback. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna try and do a reel. That's what I'm trying to say. If I do a reel and you see a reel on my Instagram, please be like, because I might just ask my sister to make it for me, if I'm honest, because it's a lot for me. I'm a bit worried about the whole situation. Anyways, I have to go now because I have to start my workout class in 8 minutes. You cannot see that, but in 8 minutes. So I'm gonna stop this video now. Stop rambling, please. But I will see you guys next week with another video.